Hello, hello. How's everybody doing today? Thank you for the wonderful introduction. As he said, my name is Rick Matthews, and I'm the Managing Director for Kin Community Canada, where essentially we get to work with the best lifestyle creators on multiple social platforms around the world. And today we have the fortunate pleasure of having Yolanda Gampp from How to Cake It, along with Connie Contardi and Jocelyn Mercer from CJ Creative, who are the masterminds behind Yolanda and How to Cake It's the channel. It's simply fantastic. When I was asked to sort of speak here, a conference that's really about digital creativity, my mind instantly went to these three women sitting here because they really are an absolute creative powerhouse, especially on the digital front, a company that's focused and have created an amazing company that's focused on doing just that. So in the next hour, what we're really going to explore, you're going to get some amazing insights from this team here in terms of what they did to sort of build their brand, the strategy they used, the planning that went into it. So hopefully it can help inform the endeavors that you're taking in various capacities. So just to tell you a bit more about Kin Community, essentially we're a digital-first media company that inspires and informs women around the world through high-quality lifestyle content on multiple platforms. And I guess the best way to describe what we do is we're what's called a multi-platform network. And for those of you that aren't familiar essentially with what that means, I think the best analogy to describe it is if you imagine a channel like HGTV, let's say, that has multiple shows in its schedule. We're a network in a sort of where we have, instead of shows, we have multiple channels. And each of those channels is its own sort of media empire across multiple social platforms. So here's what our company does at a glance. And this was some of the stuff that was in the intro. Collectively, across those 140 channels, we have 60 million global YouTube subscribers, 614 million monthly views, and 146 million social followers. It's pretty substantial. And part of my role and part of what our team does is we really help creators grow and build their brands in various ways, from optimization to strategy to promotion. And we also help create brand opportunities for our creators. So ultimately, our purpose is to empower lifestyle creators around the world to do what they love. And that really is, we just want to sort of help them grow their businesses, get out of the way, and let them do their amazing creativity. As I mentioned, we work with about 140 creators around the world, and you probably know many of them. Rosanna Pansino from Nerdy Nummies, Hannah Hart, Wayne Goss, Lord DIY, and of course, the lovely How to Cake It team. But enough about sort of Kin. Let's get to the real reason you're all here, and that's How to Cake It with Yolanda. Can we give them a round of applause? They're absolutely fantastic. Now, if you don't know about this amazing brand and haven't had a chance to watch some of the content that they create, you truly are in for a bit of a treat. How to Cake It is a joint venture between Yolanda Gampp, Connie Contardi, and Jocelyn Mercer. And really, they decided that they were going to use YouTube as the launching pad to build their brand. So let's start there. They've had insane growth over the last year. Since they launched their channel, they've grown from 0 to 1.5 million subscribers in just over a year. In YouTube world, that is astronomical and very fast. It's essentially the YouTube's fastest growing food influencer. So congratulations, that's pretty impressive. And there's the nacho cake. Anyways, so to have some fun, and for those of you, again, that aren't familiar with the channel, of which you'll become huge fans after you see this, this is a little bit about how to cake it.
This is How to Cake It. A professional baker for 18 years, Yolanda creates over-the-top cakes designed to look like real-life objects, and her number of fans is growing quickly. This creation alone was viewed more than 7 million times on YouTube and over 51 million times on Facebook. From the basic to the fantastic, How to Cake It's creations garner an average of roughly 10 million views per month. Reaching 1 million subscribers in less than a year, How to Cake It is one of the fastest growing channels on YouTube.
Right? Pretty impressive. Who doesn't want to eat a brain cake? Come on now. But as I mentioned, the How to Cake It brand really isn't just about a YouTube platform. They worked very hard to sort of build the brand across multiple social platforms. And I think if you look at the numbers and the percentage of growth that they've had, you can see that it's pretty impressive. So in addition to social media, they of course also have a very successful, highly visited website, as well as a very successful e-commerce branch to what they do as well. from simple syrup bottles to the coolest t-shirts on the planet. And that's actually, on that note of the t-shirts, I mean, that's one of the things that I'm talking about. Every single video, there's actually a themed t-shirt like we're talking about today. This is the Beyonce cake shirt. So again, let's please welcome Yolanda, Connie, and Jocelyn. And we're gonna basically explore now how they built their brand. They're gonna share their secrets, hopefully.
Maybe.
And hopefully afterwards we'll have some time for some questions.
Thanks, Rick. Hi, guys.
Say hi, everybody.
Say hi. What's up? So quiet in here.
It's Friday.
We were going to dance, but maybe that's not appropriate.
So anyways, I think I just want to start with you, Yolanda. Like,
Hello?
It's been insane growth. It's been quite a wild ride. So far, I mean, explain to everybody what that ride's been like for you.
It has been the wildest ride of my life, without a seatbelt.
The sweetest ride?
Sweetest ride, yeah. I should have strapped in because I had no idea. It's like one of those roller coasters when you're excited to get to the top, and then you get there and you're like, holy crap! That's kind of where I am right now, just like stuck there. But it's fantastic, mainly because I get to do what I love the most. I'm the most in contact with it. I have such a say in it, and I get the most response and positivity that I've ever gotten from it.
Now, Jocelyn and Connie, you really set out initially. I mean, you started off sort of in more of a traditional broadcast background and film as well. And you sort of decided that for your company, you were truly going to pivot and make it really a digitally focused company. So tell me a bit about that decision process and what led you there.
I think we were always really excited with digital, and for us, we do a lot of vision boarding, and we do a lot of big picture talks, and for us, it was always about creating really incredible experiences for people, regardless of the platform, whether it's film or TV or online or live. For us, we're just really excited by this opportunity to create great experiences, and we really set out to create a experiential digital brand that people could enjoy, centered around this incredible talent who became such a good friend of ours, who we knew she had something special, and we really wanted to see how big we could make that and see how we could translate that across multiple platforms.
And like Connie said, too, the other thing we're really passionate about is just awesome people and working with people that we really love. And that was always our passion in reality television, was finding people that were so good at what they did and great on camera, and people that we genuinely were inspired by because they were real masters of their craft. And that's Yolanda, so it was kind of a no-brainer to want to keep working with her and figuring out the right platform, and digital was definitely the way to go.
And so I think for people here, just explain maybe a bit more about your relationship and sort of how this sort of initially started.
We worked with Yolanda on a show called Sugar Stars that we sold to the Food Network. And she came to us by way of another good friend of ours, Casper Haydar, who's also a master at his craft and an incredible event designer. And they were collaborating, making these amazing sweet tables, like 10-foot long tables of handmade desserts and cakes. And so we developed a TV show around that because we thought that was pretty cool. And it only did one season on the Food Network, but went on to sell internationally, but never got renewed for a second season. And we just were like, well, if TV won't have her, then we got to take her elsewhere. So it was no reason ever to stop working with Yolanda or to give up in some way, because we really believed in her personality and her point of view and her incredible craft.
So Yolanda, when they came to you and said, hey, guess what? We want to start a YouTube channel. What was your thought?
To be honest with you, it was like angels singing, because a bit of background on me, I did Sugar Stars, and I actually couldn't take cake orders while we did this. So I pushed my business aside for TV. And then it wasn't renewed, and my clients had already found other cake decorators, and so I got pregnant and I had a son. And when I was on mat leave, these two called me very excitedly and said, we want to make a YouTube channel of you and your cakes, and it'll be great. And I honestly was sitting there nursing my son, and I thought, okay, this is perfect, because I've never been a working mother. Cakes take a long time, and people don't know that. And so I thought, we could start with these little videos, and they'll understand my schedule, and we'll go at a slow pace. That didn't happen, but it's even better.
Slow pace. Yeah, we're not good at slow pace.
Better. Yeah, so it was just kind of like, this is my dream job, because I'm still connected to the thing I love doing most. I'm still hands-on cake decorating, but I have full creative license, which I didn't have with clients. And like I said, I get all these responses from people that keep me going.
So now I just want to sort of start, where did you start in terms of coming up with the How to Cake It brand? Like day one, so you're like, okay, great, we're going to work together. YouTube and other social platforms are going to be involved in some way. Where'd you start?
It's always a conversation. It's always like on one of our couches or on the phone maybe. It's always from passion and I think true excitement. That's always the start.
I was going to say, it should have been in a garage, because we hear YouTube was built in a garage.
Tech is always built in the garage.
But it was
in a
on
barn.
Jocelyn's couch. One night, we were just kind of plotting world domination and how we build our empire of experience. And we said, okay, we're gonna build this channel. But we wanted it to be so much more than just a channel. And I know I don't downplay YouTube when I say just a channel, because YouTube's phenomenal, but we really wanted to create this 360-degree brand and see how many touch points and extensions we can grow from that. So we knew there was going to be a website. We knew we wanted to sell things related to cake decorating, and we love puns. We all love puns, and we all love laughing a lot. So we thought, okay, we're going to do these T-shirts with these cake puns. So we really saw it as this, again, 360-degree brand. And that's why we decided to call it How to Cake It, and not just Yolanda Gampp. All our social media handles are Yolanda's name, but the brand is How to Cake It, because we do see it being a lot
Continuing
bigger.
to grow, yeah.
I think, and just for everyone in the room, what's really interesting and what sort of how to Cake It sort of changed the game a little bit was that the day their channel launched, I mean, it was a full package. There was a very cohesive brand across all your platforms, really. You had already sort of figured out there's sort of a secret recipe, if you will, to sort of having a successful YouTube channel. The kind of language you use, the way you use annotations and cards and all sorts of things. And you sort of really came out of the gates with like guns a-blazing on all
Everything
fronts.
ready, yeah.
And so I'm just curious, like, how long was that development process?
We sort of had the idea for a while, but then in late 2014, so maybe November, we committed to having our first video up on February 10th, 2015. So we had a good 2 months to put everything together. And that was such an incredible thing to do, because I think unless we'd set that deadline, it would have kept sort of just extending. So we set that deadline for the first video and had 2 months to shoot a bunch of videos so that we weren't constantly behind in the schedule. Because one thing with YouTube, as you guys have probably heard today, is once you start, you can't stop. Consistency is key. The YouTube machine really, really values consistency. So once you start putting up videos, you need to keep doing that on the same day at the same time. So we knew that going into it after doing some research. So we spent that time shooting, planning, getting the website up. I mean, we were so blessed to have an incredible group, I mean, the three of us together, and then other people that just pitched in and helped us get everything ready for that launch date. And from that launch date, we haven't stopped. So on that day, our first YouTube video came out, our social media platforms were up, the website was up, there was T-shirts for sale, and it was go.
So tell us about day one. So you've done all this planning, you've prepped everything.
The day of the video release?
Yeah, the day of the video release.
Well, first of all, we were trying to ride off the coattails of 50 Shades of Grey.
It had just come out.
Our first episode, in keeping with the pun theme, because that's the thing with branding. You have to be very cohesive, and everyone needs to know what they're getting from you. So for us, it's fun and humor and puns and cake, of course. And we were going to call our first episode 50 Shades of Cake. And it was around Valentine's Day, which is a huge baking holiday, so it's very strategic. And we were having Yolanda do different variations of a chocolate cake, chocolate Valentine's Day cake. And that was our first day, right?
Yeah.
It was the 10th, which was leading up to Valentine's Day.
And it was awesome, because in those days, it was like, we got 100 views, you know?
75 were ours.
Yeah, 75 were ours for sure. 6 subscribers, and like now it's still mind-boggling to us that we have 1.5 million subscribers and 10 million views a month. Like, we still get excited. I check our views like every day, going like, wow, like 700,000 people have watched this video in the last 3 days. Like, that's still amazing. And I think that's always the thing with us, is it always comes from that place of just passion and excitement and staying grounded and continuing to be really grateful for all of the growth that's happened, but still having as much fun as we did on day one. Like, we still have as much fun.
And so one of the questions that I know I get asked all the time is, okay, that's all well and good, but like, how do you make money on YouTube? And
We had the same question when we started. We didn't know if we would.
So, but that's my question. So, were you just? I mean, was it just like, okay, listen, we're just going to put our own
Yep.
money in the game, and we're just
Yep.
gonna? Did you in your mind have a time frame where you thought, look, we're going to ride this out for a year or 2 years, or did you say, no, we're just running, and that's what we're doing?
Well, our big goal was 100,000 subscribers.
In 1 year.
In 1 year.
Yeah.
We were like, we want to hit
Yeah.
100,000
I think you
subscribers.
Yeah, I think we got that.
In 1 year, and we wanted to do it, Rick, you'll like this, so that an MCN would be interested in us, namely Kin. That night on Jocelyn's couch when we first thought of all this, we did a lot of research, and Kin was like on our
Kin,
vision
yeah.
board. And so we wanted to hit 100,000 subscribers so that Kin would come calling, and we thought that was going to be our cash cow.
I came calling it 2000, just so everybody knows.
He did.
And
Yes.
that was really because I don't know if anyone took in the YouTube Fan Fest that happened at Dundas Square last April. It was actually
Yeah,
about this
almost a year
time
ago,
last
yeah.
year. I'll just tell you a little funny side story. And so they anticipated, I think it was like something like 7,000 people would show up to see like big like Bethany Moda and
Yeah,
Jenna
huge
Marbles,
YouTubers.
right? And it was something like ridiculous. Like I think like 18,000
Yeah.
people showed up and shut down Young Dundas Square. And so Yolanda had made a fantastic YouTube cake, and I had a little YouTube cookie, and I was like, oh, this is great. And I took a picture of the YouTube cookie and put it on my Instagram account, not realizing really at the time I hadn't come across how to cake it. And I think it was Jocelyn was like, or Yolanda was like, that's my cookie. And then I
Yeah.
found the channel, was like, wait a second, we got to talk here. So that was kind of, it's just a
You
funny
never
little
know
side
what
note.
can happen when you eat a cookie. You know what I'm saying? That's why you should eat more cookies.
Open
Cookies or
doors.
cake. Cookies open doors.
And I think that's a great example of some of the things we did in the early days. We really had to think grassroots and guerrilla marketing, and we knew YouTube Fan Fest was coming, and we said, okay, we're not really part of the community yet. We only have 2,000 subscribers. We were only on YouTube for a couple of months. How do we get in? How do we get in the door? So we did some Google research, and we found a contact for the YouTube Fan Fest, and we said, okay, let's see if we can have Yolanda be there and create an amazing cake and hope that some other YouTubers will come over, say hi, tweet us, and kind of get in the fold. And it did pay off for us.
It totally paid off. And to your point, Rick, too, about putting money into it, I think that's the big thing is a lot of TV production companies ask us, like, how did you do this? How did you do this? And it's like, well, you have to spend some money, like if you want to create a show on YouTube, like this sort of show, and not maybe something where, you can film it all on your own, you have to spend some money. So it's unlike TV where you're used to sort of coming up with an idea and then going out to sort of get a broadcaster to license and spend money on your behalf. So we had to spend money, and we really didn't know exactly when it would pay off. We knew that you could make money on YouTube. That proof was out there, but we honestly didn't know how. So now we know, and now we're so grateful that it's totally paid off, and it's a full monetized running brand.
It's interesting because one of the things that I hear, I mean, and everyone, when you see those videos, you think there must be a massive crew and like
Yeah, no.
multiple people and sound people, and it's not.
No, it's Yolanda, me, and a camera person, and our wonderful editor, Orhan. It's a small crew, and honestly, big crews on TV are overrated, I've learned. Loving the small crew life.
But tell people how long, I think as well, because I think I sort of want to jump a bit into the creative cake
Yeah.
process, but in terms of how long you actually spend per video, because
For
I think
sure.
that's also...
And that's the funny thing. Compared to TV, our episodes are like small crew, no time, inexpensive. Compared to most YouTube shows, our show is expensive because it takes Yolanda maybe 14 hours to make a cake, which we have to film the whole thing. And then we also do sort of an interview, like you saw a bit of. So it takes a day to a day and a half to shoot an episode. And then, of course, there's the editing, et cetera. So compared to most YouTube shows, we are like super expensive and very complicated. But that was always the vision for this. We didn't want this to be a how-to tutorial channel. We wanted it to be tutorial meets entertainment and really, really great visual stimulation. There was never an option to shoot it from a bird's eye with a locked-off camera. Like, that was never gonna happen. We wanted your taste buds to be watering. We wanted you to be really tantalized and laugh and be entertained, and also maybe learn how to make something like this or be inspired to try.
So I just want to quickly, too, just jump into your process, Yolanda, in terms of cakes, because they are pretty crazy. I mean, it's been everything from a snake to a brain to a piñata, nachos, watermelon. I mean, where do you just start?
I mean, it always starts out with the same thing: sugar, flour, butter. My best friends. I think that's part of the magic is people really love to see a transformation. So I always start with the same thing, and I bake round cakes or square cakes, and then I carve them into what you see at the end. But that is a very long process. In the beginning, I used to say in my interviews, for every minute of this video, that was an hour.
Probably two.
And now we started doing on our Facebook time-lapse videos of the whole thing, just to show people how long this actually takes. So yeah, I just think it really grabs people's attention. Even if they don't want to do it, they're very curious as to how I do it. And then the editing, everything about it, it looks so beautiful. Even when I watch it after, I'm like, I did that? Because when I'm doing it, I'm just, very in my head.
And I just want to jump into like really your sort of engagement with your fans, because really at the end of the day, that's really what it's all about, and your ability to pivot quickly and sort of shift your brand as you sort of move along, which can also happen very, very fast. I mean, for me, one of the interesting things it always is to sort of like jump on Instagram and look at like hashtag how to cake it. And when you do that, you literally see people around the world replicating your creations, and some with varying degrees of success, but they certainly have given it a try, which is really remarkable. So can you, I just want to just sort of dive into each platform, because what I think you've really nailed, and I think which might be of use for everybody here, is that you engage with your fans, and you have different fans on each platform, but you sort of really tailor what you do to each audience, while still maintaining sort of this cohesive sort of perspective. So let's start with Facebook. How do you use Facebook for your brand? How does it, where does it work for you? What are the sort of the little tricks you're using on Facebook?
I think that's such an important point, because every platform has its own language, which I think a lot of people miss. So if you're just saying the same thing the same way, there's no reason for people to follow you on more than one platform. So we had to learn that going into this and educate ourselves. Like, please understand, this is all new really for us even, but we like to say that because we want to sort of express that it's not rocket science, it's just doing the right research and collaborating with the right people and really loving to learn, which we really do.
You're a really good listener, so really listening to your audience and observing how the platforms are working and just being really attuned to them, right? Because that's part of the creative process. It's part intuitive and it's part strategic, and that all encompasses really listening, being attuned, and knowing who your audience is.
And with Facebook, I was going to say, we really tried to treat it like our community hub. So YouTube is certainly our probably biggest hub for community, but on YouTube, people don't share as much as they do on Facebook. Facebook is really, in my mind, for storytelling. So it's really a place for our fans to all gather around Yolanda, sort of like a campfire, and to be in touch with what she's doing that week, what episode's out. It's also a great place for video now. We're really, really excited about the future of video on Facebook. So we've started to play with that and release shorter form versions of the episodes you see on How to Cake It, which we really loved working with Kin on. I mean, our short form watermelon video on the Kin page has over 51 million views, I think we saw, which is incredible.
And what's interesting about that too is, again, too, because that's obviously what we work on as well, is sort of, tweaking content for each platform. So if you watch the watermelon cake on your channel, it's lots of talking. It's
it's 9 minutes. You see
whatever.
Everything.
Exactly. And on Facebook, it's roughly 30 seconds.
Yeah.
It's just sort of like the key moments, great music, and very short clips of Yolanda. But there's no talking actually. It's just like boom, boom, boom. There you go.
It's full visual stimulation that someone can, because most likely if they're on Facebook, they're multitasking. They're maybe at work, so they can't have sound on. So you have to think of these things when you're dealing with different platforms. So it's like any of the videos we put on Facebook typically don't have any audio or talking. It's all visual stimulation with sometimes text cards to get across information we need to, keeping in mind the fact they probably won't turn the sound on. So it's been interesting, and Facebook is continuing to change, and we're really excited about continuing to learn how to utilize it.
Do you launch your videos on Facebook simultaneously or shortly after?
The time lapses we do simultaneously, because we often throw to them in our YouTube video and say, if you want to just watch the time lapse of this and find out how long it actually took, then go to our Facebook. So we often launch it simultaneously, but we're right now developing some more video content ideas just for Facebook that we can also push to.
We have another team member. Her name is Amy. She's incredible. She's been with us pretty much since the beginning, and she really helps us, really, gives us all the analytics, helps us with the creative for the different platforms. She's really there with the audience. And
she's our content manager, so if you have this many
incredible.
platforms, like, you're gonna need to have someone that's managing all of that content, for sure.
For sure. And now, so let's talk about Instagram, because obviously you're a food-based brand. Instagram is very popular for food.
No brainer with that.
Yeah. And so, in terms of your frequency, what's your sort of what's your strategy on Instagram?
How frequent are we? I think we're 4 to 5 posts a day. We try and vary between, hero shots of the cakes, little snippets of clips that didn't make it into the YouTube video. So that's one of our strategies with Instagram, is let's give people a little taste of things they didn't get to see in the YouTube video, but that are really funny and we just couldn't fit in, and put those on Instagram. Time lapses do incredibly well on Instagram. So
The video posts are doing
really
better.
well. Video is just killing it on all platforms. I think the days of images are dead. It's all about video, right?
It really is.
It's crazy.
The engagement with video.
Yeah.
The other thing is color. Bright colors just work so well for
Yeah.
Instagram. So if you have Instagram accounts, try to find color.
Yeah.
I
in
also
your
find it
photos.
interesting that I imagine somewhere in your workspace there's this giant wall of every single day that exists out there, because it's like, hey, it's National
We
Donut
have that,
Day, it's
yes.
National Beer Day, and you sort of use those hashtags
Yep.
and repurpose a lot of what you're doing. It's like, hey, what goes great with beer? Nachos, and it's a Super Bowl cake you made a year
Yeah.
ago, but it comes back to life in that just by tagging on that day, and you're riding a wave of.
That's exactly right. We have an editorial calendar, again, that Amy kind of mans and manages. Ken also sends us monthly newsletters that say, here are the days you might want to look out for. So we have that all in this master editorial calendar, which I think the calendar, we're outgrowing the calendar. There's
Yeah.
so much going in
Yeah.
there now, because
Yeah.
we have all the different days and the movies that are coming out that we might want to, again, ride the coattails of. And
For sure. Yolanda, I want to just ask you, so in terms of you engaging with your fans, there's multiple ways you do that. You have Cake Talk on your YouTube channel. You're like a brilliant Snapchatter. And so in terms of engaging with your fans, just sort of talk briefly about sort of the differences on those platforms, and do you have one that's favorite? What's your favorite way to engage with?
My favorite is Instagram, for my own personal reasons, because it's like this moving portfolio of my work and also of myself. There's little personal snippets of myself being silly, so I really enjoy it. And I just kind of like the casual, fun interaction on Instagram. I find it really positive, really I often, every time I know that the next picture up is a new cake, I'm like, okay, what are they saying? I can't wait to go and see it. It's overwhelming. In fact, if you could see how many friend requests I have on my personal Facebook page, because Yolanda Gampp is my name, so people often go follow me on my page and then try to befriend me as a real person, and I miss all my real friends because I can't see them. It's the amount of personal Facebook messages, direct messages, and Instagram. It is crazy.
One of the things I find really interesting, so when you watch the channel, you'll hear this infectious laugh in every video, and it's Jocelyn off camera.
Thank you for calling it infectious.
Yes.
Wait, I believe on the screen, Jocelyn is my PLA, my personal laugh assistant.
Yes, it's the other hat that I wear.
It's very good. But what I find so hilarious is you'll often see in the comments on each video, when are we going to see Jocelyn? When are we going to see Jocelyn? We want to see Jocelyn. She's so funny. But then I'm also thinking that's kind of hilarious because you're tagged in a whole bunch of other stuff. It wouldn't really be that hard to find out who you are and find your personal Instagram account. Yet somehow people aren't connecting the dots. So it's kind of interesting that while they're all connected, clearly some people are just they're on that one.
It's different. It's really cool because each platform does have its own world, and some people just don't cross over. They're just I don't leave YouTube. I don't know what it is, but it's a good point because we ran a couple of contests this year with the only intention was to find out, can we migrate our YouTube audience to our Instagram? Can we migrate our Instagram audience to YouTube? So we came up with a few contests. One of them was called A Year in Cake, where we would launch the question on Instagram, how many pounds of butter did Yolanda use in 2015 on how to cake it? If you know the answer, go to our YouTube channel, leave a comment in those comments with this hashtag to just see what would happen. And amazingly enough, people migrated. but you kind of got to give them a reason to. And obviously the contest had a prize, and so that was a big part of it. But there's some people that just won't, you know, who are like, sorry, like if we do this on YouTube, I don't have Facebook, so I can't go to your Facebook. Like they just won't start an account. They're just not interested.
And it's amazing how they say that. Like even with you don't see Jocelyn on YouTube, but you have seen her on my Instagram. You know, my fans follow her on her personal Instagram, and they even tell each other. There'll be people in the comments like, why can't we see Jocelyn? People are like, go to her Instagram, it's this. And they just never, it's the weirdest thing.
Yeah, it's interesting.
But definitely there are people who follow us on everything and even email us, and then there are the people who are like, no, I'm a Facebooker.
Yeah, I'm just an
That's it.
Instagram fan. Yeah.
So we're sort of getting, I want to make sure we save some time for questions. So I just want to quickly touch on branded integration. So here in Canada, we work very closely with Chorus, and we create sort of really multifaceted 360 campaigns. And we've had tremendous success with this team here. We just did a campaign with Baskin Robbins that has a TV commercial running across Chorus that features, you know, proudly Yolanda and your cake creation. There's a YouTube video. There's a whole social stream. Exactly what we're talking about. Videos cut down. So I just want to sort of talk about quickly, because obviously there's a lot of attention being paid to sort of influencers in the space right now. Overall, what's it been like working with brands?
It's been awesome. Yeah, like it's been very surprisingly seamless, I would say. I'm proud to say that we never get more than like 2 notes back from a brand on any collaboration we do, and we send the video and say like, do you like it? And are we representing you well? It's been awesome. Yeah, I mean, and it's just cool because all the brands we've worked with, like Baskin Robbins, like Yolanda's
It's like
obsessed
a
with it.
natural
Yeah.
fit. Like they're like, can you make a double-decker ice cream sandwich cookie? No. That's
hate
a
ice
little
cream
bit too much
sandwiches.
fun for me.
I have to say, from a brand perspective, it's sort of like a dream come true, because literally she can make anything into a cake.
Yeah.
You've made donuts. You've made
Yeah.
you've made coffee cups.
Jar of Vegemite for our Aussie fans.
She made a BB-8 cake that actually they had the real BB-8. And
Shout out to Disney.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And you can't actually tell which one's the real BB-8 and which one's the cake. So I mean, it really is kind of hilarious in that regard.
Yeah, I wish I had a more interesting answer. I don't know if anyone has anything to add, but it's been seamless.
I
Connie?
was just going to add, I think that's exactly it. I think brand collabs or brand integrations really work when it feels organic.
Yeah.
There's this weird, I don't know what to call it, this weird thing people have about, you know, when they get to know you on YouTube or they get to know an influencer, it's like they love the influencer, but they don't want them to eat. Like it's a bad.
I want them to make money. You
They
shouldn't
don't want
make money
them to
doing
make
this.
money because it's almost like it touches the purity in some way. And so we've seen a lot of influencers get some backlash from doing some brand collabs that maybe weren't the best fit, but we're in a very unique position where, like you said, Yolanda can kind of cake anything, and we try to make the placement as organic as possible, and we'll never take a brand deal if we feel it's going to go against our audience or our audience wouldn't like. We always look at, okay, is this going to work for the audience? And you know that, Rick, there's been times where opportunities have come for us that we say, oh, it would be great to take that money, but we don't think
Doesn't
it'll
fit.
resonate with our fans. And I think as a creator, you have to really keep that in mind. Sarah Lynn said it best, Sarah Lynn, the domestic geek. She said, the audience is your boss. The brand isn't your boss, the audience is your boss, and you always have to give them what they want.
She used the point, you can only have one boss.
Yeah, and it has to be
Yeah.
the audience. And I mean, no matter what brand collab we do that you see on our channel, the tone of our videos is always the same. It's the priority is always the cake, the funny, the just sort of uplifting, you know, easygoing sort of vibe, and that's always the priority. And then we obviously work with the brand to make sure that they're, you know, also happy with the integration.
Great. So last question before we sort of open up to the audience, because I'm sure they have questions. Incredible year. You're now at 1.5. You just won a Webby Award. Which
Yes,
is yay,
that's
which is
right.
kind of
I
it's
keep
that's
forgetting.
a very big deal, which is fantastic. You just had some really fun experiences this week. The Space Open. You did just did a vlog with Superwoman, which
The
is
queen
kind
of YouTube
I made a cameo in
Yeah.
her latest
in her video. She's in 2 Superwoman videos this week. She's like our idol.
that's spectacular. So what's next? Are you just going to ride this wave for a while, or what's sort of the plan?
We're all
I think we
like,
can get
Sleep?
off this wave.
Yeah.
yeah. So we can't get off the wave. So yes, we're gonna ride it. I mean, a couple of the things are we're really excited about live streaming right now. Again, Facebook is killing it. YouTube has a great live stream platform. So we really are figuring out how we can utilize live stream and allow fans to feel like they can bake with Yolanda in real time. Because, you know, unfortunately, we can't squeeze all of our fans into her kitchen, and we can't get Yolanda out to all of them. So
that won't be 14 hours.
yeah, no, that won't be 14 hours, no. So we're playing with some ideas around that and launching a couple products this year that will involve people being able to live stream and bake live with Yolanda and have all their baking dreams come true. Connie, you want to talk about?
I was going to say, we're doing our first live meet and greet. It's a collaboration with Disney and their Alice Through the Looking Glass movie, which is really cool.
That's really
so
cool.
that's happening in mid-May. So that's really exciting. So we want to do a few more of those. We want to do more collabs as well with other YouTubers. We really want to be part of the community a little more, and that's started. And hopefully with the new YouTube creator space, we can do that more. Like we said, Yolanda already did the collab with Superwoman, so that was cool. We did a collab with the Sorry Girls that
Lord
came out.
DIY. Yeah.
Lord DIY. So we're starting to become more part of the community, and we're really excited about that. There's a book in the works,
Yay.
or will be in the works.
That's
so
amazing.
we're excited about that as well.
That's great. So we just got a bit of time left, so I just want to open up to questions in the audience. If anyone has anything that they'd like to ask, please just shoot away.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm just going to hand this one off to Joseph and Rick. I'll let you sort of call people out. Raise your hand if you have a question.
So we'll go with the guy in the green jacket there. We'll start it.
Hello, girls.
Hi.
I'm a fan of yours,
Woohoo.
fellow YouTuber as well. I have a question for you. How do you network offline?
We don't network a lot offline. We do, but it's a lot of online.
You mean with each other or with other
With
YouTubers?
events?
With brands, with other YouTubers, but mostly with brands. How do you network to get collaborations, and how do you network to get your brand name out there to get new opportunities for sponsorships?
Well, I mean, this is really a question for Rick, because Kin Community is the one that we partner with to do just that, which is to be out there networking with brands, selling our channel to them, selling our brand to them and saying, hey, you should collaborate with them so that we can focus on really building our brand, How to Cake It, and staying focused on that creative, because it's so much work to go out there and to be talking to brands.
Yeah, and I guess that's one of the advantages of partnering with an MPN or MCN is really that's really what we focus on is really those branded opportunities. And as I mentioned here specifically in Canada, I mean that's also the interesting part here too. I mean YouTube's a global brand, but you're talking about a company that's based here in Toronto and has a massive global following, frankly. So here in Canada specifically, we work directly with Chorus Entertainment. And again, what's really nice is they're a women's lifestyle brand and kids and youth, and we are really strong in the women's lifestyle vertical as well. We don't do gaming. We don't do. There's other things we don't. We just that's not what we do. We sort of are very hyper focused on the kinds of people that we work with. And so a lot of what we're doing is getting out in the space, doing a lot of education, a lot of frankly just selling, and also just educating people about how to really effectively work with influencers, as well as we really create sort of more than just like connecting the dots between a brand and people that are on social platforms. It's really like, what's the strategy? And so that's where we talked about Baskin Robbins. Like that's really what we look at as a differentiator for us, is that we really create a strategy. So it's not just a one-off video, but it's got various components to it. So it becomes a cycle, frankly. Like once you do a brand sees you do one video and they're like, wait a second, that's a huge brand and they did an amazing job, then the phone really starts ringing.
And I was going to say, too, I think YouTubers often are like, how can I get to brands? How can I get to brands? But the truth is, if you focus on building your brand and your audience, the brands will come because the brands want an audience, right? They want someone to talk to. So if you can focus on building that and just loving your fans and continuing to grow that and making the best possible product possible, it becomes easier. Am I wrong? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's what we can sort of focus on, and because we can't ever lose that focus and allow Rick to do what he does best and be out there talking to brands, so we can always stay focused on our content and our audience and growing that.
Yeah, great. Any other questions?
Hi. What are some of the KPIs you use to measure your success?
Connie, you love this stuff.
I think there's a lot of stuff that we're constantly measuring. Again, it goes back to really listening to the audience, and there's some really great listening tools. We use Google Analytics on our website, so we have our website analytics. Then there's all the platforms and their analytics. So it really depends. We'll sometimes start a campaign or a specific project, and we set measurable goals and then see if we hit those goals. Like, for example, the time-lapse videos on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
We did a campaign called Cake It to the Minute, and we had certain goals that we were trying to hit for that. And so far, knock on wood, every goal we've set, we've hit or exceeded. So we know we're doing something wrong, right? And then when we're not, or before we reach that kind of deadline, if we feel we're not, we brainstorm ways to pivot. And we do that actually a lot with our e-commerce. If we see a product isn't selling the way we would have liked it to sell, we get together and we brainstorm and we say, okay, what else can we add? Or how can we tweak the promos so that they feel less promotional? We're actually giving people content. And that's a whole other topic.
And you sort of, it's an interesting question too, right? Because as you're sort of focused on whatever your product is, whether it's video or it's an actual product, the challenge is finding the time sometimes to actually really pay attention to those analytics. But when you do, it pays off in spades. So I always tell the story, there's one of our creators had, all of a sudden just one of our videos just really tanked. And we're like, well, what's going on here? Like, what was different about this video? And I mean, what I love about YouTube is you can or any platform really, is if you use the analytics, like we could scroll through that video and be like, well, here, everyone ran screaming from your video at 1:30. What happened there? It was like, oh, your boyfriend came into frame. Okay, clearly your audience hates you having a boyfriend, so that's his first and last video. And then you basically can kind of pivot and really engage with your audience in a sort of rapid time.
Yeah, I was going to say that for YouTube specifically, it's views 100% is like we're always trying to beat the bar in terms of how many views we get on a video we release in a day, in 2 days, in a week. We're always really paying attention to those views as well as audience retention. Because that's the thing is, in terms of knowing what analytics to focus on, you need to know what analytics your platforms most care about. And YouTube most cares about audience retention. So views are important, and that's how you get paid, but it also matters how long they're watching for. If we have a 10-minute video and people kind of lose interest after 2 minutes, that's not a good look. So we need to make sure our audience retention is high. So I think you start by figuring out what they really care about so that you know what you should really care about and go from there, for sure.
Yeah, that's exactly it, because then you just sort of rise up in sort of their internal
Yeah, and every platform
algorithm.
cares about something different, so.
The other thing I want to say is that we consider ourselves a digital brand. So we're not just a channel. We're not, just on all these platforms. We're really a brand. So for us, brand recognition is very important.
For
so
sure.
Something that we always measure is our direct traffic to our site, because that means there's some brand recognition there. And I'm happy to say that we're usually between 70 and 80% direct traffic. We've barely spent any money on SEO or any ads. What we've kind of achieved is mostly organic, which we're really proud of and a little bit shocked.
Yeah, definitely.
But brand recognition is very important.
I guess we're just about to wrap up, but are there any other questions, or do... Great. Well, listen, thank you, everybody, for giving us your time. Thank you to Jocelyn and Connie and Yolanda for coming up and sharing your secrets. I hope it's been of use, and thank you.
Thanks, Rick. Thanks, guys.
Thanks so much to Rick, Yolanda, Jocelyn, and Connie. Everybody, another round of applause before we take a short break.